On the island, the end of the year brings opportunities to hunt meat for the winter. For dogs, this meant many kilometres of bogs and barrens after birds and rabbits.
Usually what you would do this time of the year, you keep close to the edge of like bunches of woods, because the birds are starting to turn white, so they're hiding now, right? Hiding out there. They get the scent, they're going to go in there and stay in lock solid, right? Till I gets up to them. And then when I get up behind them, I tell them to move in, and they move in very slow, right? Yeah, they'll move in, and when they get so close, they won't go no closer. Because they got a strong scent off them, so they stay there, then they'll hold there. Then all you do is just wait for the bird to get up, right?
My connection is my wife. Her two sisters are married to two fishermen here in the harbour. Well, Mr. Bullies came up back in about 14 years ago. I was going in for a Mountie at the time, and my buddy didn't want me to go out of Mountie racket, so he bought me a load of gear, and he said, set me up as a butcher. He didn't want me to go out to Mounties. This used to be a fish stage years back in the early 1900s. It was called Mr. Bully's Room. There was a gentleman, his name was Mr. Bully, and so I was going to call it, which that hill is called Boone's Head. I was going to call it Boone's Head Meatpacking, but in the deed it was Mr. Bully's Room, so I called it Mr. Bully's Meat Room. I guess it was probably '89. I got my first beagle, and I was hooked on it from then. My grandfather had a beagle, and my cousins always had beagles, and I was just fascinated by hunting rabbits, right? Snaring rabbits, hunting rabbits. Then I got introduced to the field trials competition for beagles, right? Which is large pack on here, which I became a judge for CKC. I judge them, right? So that's what got me. I've been at it ever since. There was lots of dogs here. A lot of fellas here had hunting dogs. My first beagle, actually the first few beagles I had were up on that hill or behind that house. We had a big cable going across. Yeah. Me and the brother-in-law, we had our dogs up there, right? And everywhere on the hill you see beagles. Well, you let them go, and they'll usually range out 100 meters, 200 meters. It depends on some dogs and go further, but they're just looking for scent. And when they find the scent, they let you know they found a rabbit. Yeah. And the people think the beagle is harming the rabbit, but the rabbit is probably about a minute or 2 minutes in front of the dog at all times. So what the dog is doing, the bark is what's moving the rabbit. He's chasing the scent, barking, and the rabbit's listening. So the rabbit stays a minute or two in front of the dog. He's going to circle that rabbit. The rabbit will make a circle, and he's going to chase that rabbit, and I'm going to find a good advantage spot and get up with my gun, and I'm going to wait. And then I hear the dog coming. I know he's coming in my direction, and I'll just wait, and I get a clear shot, and the rabbit, bang, right? And he'll come right up on the rabbit. I'll breed him to females that are like him, champions that can produce rabbit, that shows me that they got hunting skills, that they got no quit, they got desire to find rabbit, right? They're born with it, but you nurture it and bring it out. They're not going to break if you don't bring them in the woods. He knows when he goes to the woods, he knows his job, what to do, and he does it.
Okay, I was born in 54, which really gives it away. When we walked over the bridge and went to go to the north side to go to school, you walked over, the flakes were on top of your head. They were tall and over the road. Wherever they could build a flake, they built it. Same with going down here, going down to Harbour, the flakes were almost on the road. So it was a scary place as children. I was a Lee originally from Petty Harbour. Lee is a Petty Harbour name. You can tell if anybody's from here by their last name. Originally, they landed here. My people landed here 1800, early 1800s. I know my father didn't want the boys in the boat. He wanted them out educated. In what year was it Dad moved from the house? 1953 or 54, Dad had to move from his old homestead and buy a house. He went to the bank and they wouldn't give him a loan because he didn't have a job. He was a fisherman. So like that stuck in his craw, as he said, for years. I guess it was 1957 and Dad used to work part-time at a place in downtown St. John's on the south side called Cashin's. And he sold the oil company to British American Oil. And they offered Dad a full-time job. His dad was fishing at the time. And so he spoke to this man who lived up the road from him. His name was Fred Whitten. I said, Fred, I was offered a full-time job with benefits and everything with British American Oil. What do you think I should do? He said, Ambrose, go down and burn the boat. So Dad quit and he went working with PA, but he didn't like it from that day to the day he was retired. But he knew it was a full-time job with a paycheck. And so the berries were an important part. Like wherever you could get berries, we went. Because Dad had a car at the time. Not everybody here had a car, but Dad had a full-time job. Therefore, he could afford to get a car. So we'd go pick bake apples, partridge berries, blueberries, marsh berries. Mom would preserve them. Mom would have, she'd jam them all and whatever, right? Like Mom would make black currant jam and put it away. That was used in the winter if you had a sore throat. And it works. And so, you picked your berries, but they were for a purpose. They kept you healthy. Kept you from getting sick. Like we get up for breakfast and you'd be every kind of jam you want on the table for breakfast. You went hunting years ago so you could feed your child that night. I don't think a lot of fishermen, as they got children and grandchildren, they wanted their kids to keep up that tradition. It, like my father said, it wasn't that romantic. Like Dad had a cow every year he raised, plus he had a milk cow, which was unusual around here. Some people down the harbour did, down the cove had more, and every year the cow was killed for the winter, for food, for meat. A lot of hunting went on. I mean, I know Dad used to take my brothers out. They didn't need it for the food. Obviously, Dad and Mom, they had lots of food. They had a garden, they had potatoes, they had everything in the garden. So they did it because Dad wanted to teach the boys how to use a gun properly, number one, and he wanted to just go for the fun of it. I think the boys were like 6 and 7 when he first took them in the woods. They were very young, But he wouldn't let us go with him. He wouldn't take the girls.
That's Dusty. That's his son. He's a split of his father, right? Hey, Dusty, who are them people? Right? He's gonna be a good little dog, ain't you? Huh? And another good one. Who's all them people looking at you? Huh?
But yeah, Petty Harbour was a different. I don't think it'll ever come. It will never be like it was. I don't think I knew it was as bad as what it was, or I don't think I knew it was as good as what it was. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. It had lots of good things, but it was not honey sweet.